Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a video talking about my fountain pen collection at the start of 2026. I've been wanting to make this video for a while, but like everybody else, I feel like I always have a new fountain pen in the mail. So I think the start of the new year, maybe I do this start of every year, hopefully, or maybe I do a mid-year check-in depending on how crazy I go this year. I have currently all my pens in this Grologio, however you say that. It's their 12 pen bomber case. So it has this really nice plaid interior and you might get a little sneak peek. I absolutely love it. I got it for Christmas and it's been great so far. I will be doing the currently inked in Nostalgie A5 in this beautiful stars holographic cover. To preface a little bit about my collecting history, I got into stationery, well, I've been into stationery as a whole for years, but I really got deep into it June of this year, and that's when I got my first fountain pen. I got two right to start, and since then I've amassed some more, but most of the pens I've gotten have either been gifted or secondhand. I love secondhand pens. Most fountain pens are really hardy, and I feel like a lot of people are honestly taking really good care of their pens. So it's a great way to get a good deal and to do a little bit of good in the world by not constantly buying new things. So yeah, why don't we start? Let me take a sip of my Diet Coke. We all know I tend to talk pretty fast, especially when I'm really excited. So I'm going to start with what I have currently inked. And then we'll go with what I don't. So, let's see if I can move that there. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so my currently inked I have on this side, starting with, as everyone knows, the Pilot Decimo Vanishing Point. This is a very popular pen, and for really good reason. It's a great, I don't want to say it's a great starter pen because it's really expensive for a pen, but if you have the money, it's an amazing pen for people that don't know a lot about fountain pens because it feels like a regular pen. I don't think it writes particularly scratchy. This is particularly in a fine nib. It doesn't write particularly scratchy for me. It's very comfortable to hold. As you can see, it has some indentation in that clip. So people think that this is going to be really uncomfortable. I honestly think for 99% of people I've heard, works totally fine. They don't even notice it. And this is the clicking, it's very familiar. It's very comfortable for most people. So I absolutely love this pen. This is what I call a married pair pen. I don't know if anybody else calls it that, but I always have the carbon platinum ink in this. So this is kind of paired with my diary. Or my planner, sorry, and it always has black ink in it. I did get this one secondhand, and yeah, super pretty. This is, I think, pearl white. Don't quote me on that. I'm not exactly sure. Again, secondhand. Yeah, love this one. My other married pair is a very popular pen this year. Is the Esterbrook Estie with the TheCoffeeMonsterzco collaboration. This is beautiful. It is paired with another carbon ink, but it's the Sepia brown. So you can see. Estie X TheCoffeeMonsterzco. This one I have in an extra fine. And this one was actually the first pen I ever bought, which is kind of crazy now, knowing more about this community and seeing how people typically start with TWSBIs or Kawecos. But I honestly bought all my planners, my Hobonichis, my Sterling inks, and said, meh, fountain pens aren't really for me. I think it's a little unnecessary. It's a little much. And I went maybe a couple weeks like that using those planners just with ballpoint pens, and then I saw this pen. Absolutely starstruck. This cigar shape of the Estes, it killed me. And then I saw this adorable little emoji, she calls them, on the nib, and I was in love. I bought it immediately, and I bought the whole set with the ink and the blotting papers. And then I was like, okay, well, if I have one and I like it, let me get another. And I'll talk about that second pen later on. But yeah, this was really the introductory drug for me into the fountain pen world, and I absolutely love her. So these two, no matter what else I have inked, I have in a black and a brown, because this I use for my daily planner and this I use for my daily journaling. And I honestly really do like that consistency. When I flip through, I like the stickers and the washi tapes to pop more than what I'm writing sometimes. So I typically do note-taking or stream of consciousness journaling in other colors. Excuse me. Now we're getting into what I have currently inked for, I don't know if I'm saying January or maybe just this ending part of winter, as I tend to keep my pens inked for a while. This, no surprise, is another Esterbrook Estie. This is Esterbrook Estie from the Back to the Lands collection in Quirky Leaf. And this is actually the button filler. Beautiful pen. And in a journaler's nib. Very excited. For anybody that doesn't know the journaler's nib, excuse me, I'm not sure why my throat is acting up today. The journaler's nib is a custom grind nib, and it's a medium that's kind of ground down a little more, but it is still a pretty wet ink. And I have this with the Diamine Evergreen. You can see. Sorry, I don't have the prettiest handwriting. Quirky Leaf. I typically just put a J for the journalers. Super, super nice. I honestly think this is one of my favorite pens to write with. It's just such a joy. It's perfect. So I have another medium that I think is too thick for me, but this is just thick enough that you can see the properties of the ink, but not so thick that you see a lot of feathering. It's very compliant with most papers. I don't have to think. I can just pick up this pen and write on whatever, and it works. I also love that there's this little view of the ink. If you don't know about button fillers, you unscrew this back here, and I believe it's a vacuum mechanism that by pushing this, it sucks ink up. Honestly, to be determined on how easy it is to clean. I got this in December of 2025, so just a couple of weeks ago, in the Experience pen sale, used pen sale, that Atlas Stationers runs. It's amazing. They said that the nib was misaligned with the feed. So you can see that was a really easy fix. I fixed it the day I got it, and I got a really good deal. But I filled it and I've just been writing. Haven't had to clean it yet. So I'll probably come back with another video talking about the maintenance on button filler pens as I get to do more research. This next pen was a Christmas gift. And oh, in love with her. This is the TWSBI Eco in Creme with rose gold accents. I do have a shimmer ink in her, and that's because she is a broad. I was about to say bold. A broad nib. First broad nib I've ever used. And I like that I can see how separated the ink is. So what I tend to do is I take it between both hands and I just kind of roll it. Because I see if you shake it too much, you'll get little air bubbles. And then it'll come through the feed and you'll have huge splotches of ink, which nobody really wants. So yeah, she is super pretty. And this was my aunt's Christmas gift. Oh, apparently we don't want to work. Okay, well, normally she writes a lot better than that, but it might just be that it's glitter ink. With any pen, glitter ink is going to clog up the feed. And admittedly, because it's so broad, I don't use it too often. So yeah, that's not great, but it's real. I haven't written with this pen in a couple of days, honestly. So it's giving me a lot of trouble. There we go. And this one is in a broad nib, like I said. There we go. I think it's alive now. But yeah, either way, this ink is super pretty. And I do, for the most part, enjoy writing with this pen. I think I might do some more research on hard starts with glitter inks. See if there's anything I can do to mitigate that. But that's the first time that that's ever happened with this pen. And this is the, just looking at the name, Dominant Industry Sunset. I always forget because a purple with kind of gold shimmer never feels like it should be called sunset to me. But I guess it is true that if you look at sunset, sometimes there are purple colors. I guess I always just think like warmer reds and oranges. Either way, I got this as a Christmas gift. Absolutely stunning. I like how broad it is. It's different than what I usually write. I tend to prefer extra finer fines. And it's just a beautiful color combo. This one I dream about. I'm obsessed with her. The last pen that I have currently inked is the Sailor Pro Gear Slim in Sapporo Snow Festival. This was a limited edition run. Not quite sure when, because I did get it in an Experience pen sale again by Atlas Stationers. This is in a medium fine. I was pretty nervous about getting a medium fine, because as far as I know, Sailor's the only one that does these. So I found very mixed reviews on if everybody liked them. On a whole, I'm in love with it. It's beautiful. So it does have that same scratchy quality that some people say. Snow Festival, sorry. That some people say fine nibbed pens have. But I like that. I mean, Esterbrook Estie and the extra fine was my first pen. I wanted that in a fountain pen. So it has the qualities of writing with a fine, but showing off ink properties like a medium. Obviously not as much as like this broad or this journer's nib that was a true medium at one point. But I feel like I can write with a fine all day and it looks like one solid color. Now, I do know that the platinum inks, the carbon platinum inks, tend to be pretty flat. I don't think they have a lot of sheening or shimmer or anything, but either way, I can see the ink properties a lot better in this. Speaking of the ink, this is a Sailor ink. I don't know the name, but I'll show the bottle just because I'm not sure on how to say it. Shikiori? Maybe if anyone can see that. Absolutely, it's a beautiful blue. Only Sailor ink I have, and I definitely want to get more. I've had great experiences with it so far. But yeah, I use this one with commonplacing. A little fun fact about it. If you look at this specific ink, the Sailor Shikiori, and the MD paper, it's the same color as the grid. Not exact, but very close. And I think it's a very satisfying look when you look back at your commonplacing, specifically is what I use it for. I think it's very minimal, and I very much like it. This has a 14 karat white gold nib, and it does write like that. Very, very smooth. Just a little bit of scratch. Very nice. I also like how minimal it is. And if you're a matchy person, like I tend to be with my inks and my fountain pens, I like that there's, sorry if you can hear my dog, he's right behind me on the couch trying to get at something, I'm not sure what. I like that there's multiple different tones of blue, so you can use a light blue or a dark blue or even a white, and I think it would go really well. Very pretty Sailor fennial there. All right, and again, those are my currently inked in the pen case right now. They don't typically live in here, but I did want to show off the pen case a little bit more, so I put them in here for today. They typically live in my Sula Stationer's pouch, or Sula Stationery pouch, because I think it's originally intended for ceramics, but I can pull that out one day and show you guys because I have it chocked full. So going away with this, I can show you the second half that has my other pens. I think I'm going to go in size order, so like my pocket pens to my larger ones. This is my Kaweco Aluminum Sport in rose gold with the gold vintage inspired clip. It does have silver accents typically. I think it's an aluminum nib as well, or no, my bad, it's a steel nib in a fine. But I just think this gives like what a princess would write with. So I love having the gold accent on there. I won't say Kawecos are my favorite. I have two, only gonna show this one because the other one I'm giving away. Mostly because I think they're a pain to ink. I really prefer using converters versus syringe filling, but I only have these with cartridges. I've also been told that the Kaweco converter is kind of fiddly, but I don't know if it's because this is a fine. Most people recommend a medium in Kawecos, but I feel like I'll ink it one day and I'll leave it upside down 24 hours and it still hard starts. I don't know why. I don't know if it's conditions I keep it in, but once it gets writing, I think it's really nice and an adorable pen. It is my princess pen when I'm feeling very bougie or in the mood to have a tea party. This is what I want to pull out. So I think I'll keep her for that reason, but it's not my favorite writer. By no means bad, and it's a really popular pen, but that's just what I think about it. Next is my absolute favorite pen. I don't have her inked up right now because I don't like having far too many inked at a time. Because I don't like taking the ink out of a pen and putting it back in a bottle. I will, not to waste it, but it's not my preferred thing. This is my Pilot E95S. She is my baby. If I had to throw out all my pens and only have one, I'd keep this one. That's for a couple different reasons. She is a proper gold nib. I say that because it looks gold and gold is my favorite. So she's just aesthetically beautiful. She is super lightweight, but she still posts to be a really comfortable writing length. And I have pretty small hands, so it is a very decently sized pen in my hand. And something about this barrel, I thought it would cause a lot of fatigue, but I guess because it's chunkier, it doesn't. I can write 3, 4, 5 pages of morning pages, and my hand is absolutely fine. Usually with my Esterbooks, when I'm journaling at night, I don't post the pen and I tend to hold the cap because it lets you have a looser grip on the pen body itself. I don't have to do that with this. This pen feels like an extension of my hand. And honestly, this is the first time I haven't had it inked since I bought it, and I miss it. Even with my Sailors and my Esterbooks, I think of this pen every day and wish I could ink it, and I might because I love it. I love it so much. But I got this secondhand on Facebook Marketplace. It's a fine nib, and it was a very sweet man. Had a big collection where I bought it with the Kaweco in rose gold, and he gave me some Diamine writer's blood with it, and that's what I typically pair it with because it really is just a dreamy combination. So yeah, if anyone's considering this one, I believe this one's a maroon color or deep red depending on where you buy it. Absolutely recommend. It's worth the price tag. This one I thought was a fun pen. This is the Kakimori Frost. It's kind of unique. I've said before I like the cigar-shaped pens, but I also typically require my pens to have a clip. I typically don't like I think it's the R Studio Revolve pen that's like almost like a hexagon. I don't know, it just doesn't do it for me, but this captivated me. I think it's because it's like kind of see-through, and purple's my favorite color. And the fact that they advertise, and this is also kind of funky how it posts, but the fact that they advertise that you can change, you can see I clearly have cleaned all these before this video, that they advertise that you can switch out the nib so easily, especially like they have a roller ball that you can add to it. I don't know, I thought that was really fun, and it's a pretty inexpensive pen. It posts kind of fun, like I said, and I have written with it post because it's a very, very light pen, and I typically don't like demonstrators, but it's just a very faint look at the converter, which I think is unique. I'm not crying about not having this one inked though. I think it's unique. I think it's fun. I think I'll keep it in my collection, but I don't love writing with it. I got it in a medium, which we know I prefer fines, and this is very juicy. I have not found a paper that this doesn't feather with. So this might be another one that I use with just shimmer inks or inks that have a really nice sheen just to do some big title or something. But this is definitely not a pen I think I'll have inked for a long time or be any of my daily writers. But like I said, it's a unique pen. It's pretty unaffordable and it's a fun thing to have in a collection. This last pen was the pen that I bought with my Esterbrook, the TheCoffeeMonsterzco specifically, and it's the TWSBI Eco in Onyx Black. It's in the extra fine, the super pretty rose gold accents, and okay, so it's a very popular pen for a reason. It's very beginner friendly, it's comfortable to hold, it's sturdy. I used this for a while as the pen I would take to work. Like some of you guys know if you've watched my previous videos, I'm an EMT. So I need a very sturdy pen that I feel like is going to be okay getting knocked around and that is always going to write. It is those things. I'm just not in love with it. I like it. That's all I want to say. And I think it's a little controversial because everyone raves about these pens and I see people that have the entire collection, like all the bazillion colors that they have. That's not me. I dreamed about the cream color, which is why I asked about it. I really like that color combination. And even though that pen writes worse than this one, just because I don't like the broad as much, I will ink that pen 1,000 times more than I will this because I prefer the aesthetic. And that's just a me thing. Some people really value how their pens write. I love when a pen looks good and writes well. But at the end of the day, if it's cute, I want to use it. I think I got the black to look professional, not really to match my personal instincts or my personal preferences. And yeah, I don't regret it. I'll keep it. I think it definitely has a place in my collection, but it's not my favorite. So yeah, that's all my fountain pens. I have a pretty small collection, especially compared to some other people on the internet, but I want that to change. I want it to grow. I'm trying to just do it in a way that's sustainable for me. I'm very matchy with my ink colors right now, and I don't know how I feel about that because there are pens that I love, like this Esterbrook E90, or excuse me, this Pilot E95, favorite pen, but I don't love the color red. I would prefer having something else in that, so I might even get the black version just to be able to put any color in it. But maybe that's something I just need to sit with longer and see if it really is that important for me to everything be matchy or if that's just something that stationary talk tells you to do, so I do it. But that's the whole point of this hobby, is to reflect and to be mindful and to slow down in your life. And I think that's a really beautiful thing, especially with fountain pens. I've talked to my mom about it because she's also a stationery lover, but she likes, you know, Pilot G2s, like ballpoint pens and paper and stuff like that, less of the artistic fountain pen realm. And she can't imagine her pen needing maintenance of cleaning it and inking it. And, you know, I have wipes everywhere just in case a nib needs to be wiped off or dipped or anything. And she can't understand it. But to me, it's a lovely ritual that I get to do that makes me feel good, that lets me slow down in my life and reflect on what I've been doing. And if I still want to keep doing that, and it starts with my pens, but it typically goes into a deeper conversation within myself. So yeah, that's my little rant and my current fountain pen collection. If anyone has any questions about them, leave comments down below. I like to think I'm responsive. And yeah, thanks for joining me. See you next time.